Hey everyone, my name is Netter. Welcome back to NetterTech, and today we have another episode of Web Code where we will be covering formatting, writing, and fonts in HTML. So we'll be covering a few tags today. The P tag, the header tags, the H tags, the font tag, the bold tag, the underline tag, and the I tag, the italic tag. So let's get started. The first tag we'll be covering is the P tag. So, and how you write that is opening bracket P, closing bracket, and then you always close the tag like this, with a little slash in there. And it doesn't actually make a visual difference technically to the document unless you specify that in CSS. It's just a tag in which you store certain elements of text. So a paragraph, a caption, a title, whatever. It's just a conventional way of doing things in HTML. The next tag we'll be covering is the header tag. And there are 6 different header tags. H1 through H6. H1 formats text to be the largest. So we'll do that. H1, and that's how you write it. Save it, and you can see that the text that we specified for H1 has been made bold and larger. And every time you specify a text to H1, it will make it exactly this size. Don't quote me on what size. I think it's like if you put it in a font tag, it's like size 7 or something. Anyway, and every time you move a number down, so for example H2 or H3 or H4 or H5 or H6, it becomes smaller. So let's try H6, the smallest version of the header tag. You see that the text is very small now. And it's still bolded, technically, but it's smaller than the default text that an HTML document would output. So those are the header tags. They're not very useful if you're making a very large kind of actual website. Then you're going to want to use just CSS for whatever you're doing. But for a little document that you just have to construct quickly and you're not really bothered to use too much CSS, just use the header tags. It's very simple. Okay, so those are the header tags. Let's switch that back to H1 because then it's most obvious what it means. Okay, the next tag we'll be using is the font tag. The font tag is technically outdated. It's no longer usable in the new version, or it no longer exists, I should say, in the new version of HTML, HTML5. However, it is still supported by most major browsers, internet browsers. So Firefox, Chrome, Safari, Opera, whatever, Internet Explorer even, you can still use this tag, and it's probably going to stick around for a while because it's the simplest way to format text in HTML. So it's written like this. Opening bracket font, closing bracket, and you close it with opening bracket slash font, closing bracket. The font tag has 3 attributes. First attribute, color. Second attribute, size. Third attribute, face. And they each do different things that are very useful in formatting text. Color, every major color, I think everything up to secondary and even some tertiary colors, if I'm correct in my color naming systems, I guess, is usable by name. So something like yellow, for example, everything, white, black, red, blue, yellow, green, you can you can use as just by their name. You can specify them. But more complex colors that you can't really name, or even colors that have names, but the names, like, you know, they're more unknown, like they're not as major. Those colors you have to identify by hex. So hexes, like hex color codes, are strings of, are little codes of 6 characters that specify a certain color. And you can look up hex codes for different colors, and there'll be little color palettes where you can choose a color, and it'll tell you the hex code for that color. Okay. And I won't really go over that here, but we'll go over that when we're doing CSS. Size, you just enter a certain like HTML size number. So I think it goes from 1 to 7. Let's just use like 5. And the bigger the number, the bigger the size. Unlike with these header tags, where the smaller the number, the bigger size. Okay, the face. The face is essentially the font family that you would like to use for the text specified. So if you're going to use Arial, you write Arial. If you're going to use Times New Roman, write Times _New _Roman. I think this is how you do it. Let me just confirm that. Actually, to just test that, let me just go to... Sorry, it's been a little while since I've used the font tag. Well, I think you might have to use little dashes. I'm not so sure. We'll figure it out in just a minute. Yeah, it looks like that. Okay. So, like, sans serif. Yeah. So what you do is you just use little dashes to specify the, but I think you might also be able to use underscores. It might even depend on your browser that you're using. So yeah, that's how you can specify those kinds of things. Yeah, okay, so that's how you use the font family. But most likely, if you end up trying to specify a certain font for text, you're going to use CSS. So the next tag we'll be covering is the bolding tag. So here we have our little paragraph tags. Let's use opening bracket B, closing bracket, opening bracket /B, closing bracket. And you'll see what that does here. It essentially bolds the text given inside of the text. Pretty simple. The next one is the underline tag. You just use U in the place of the B. It underlines the text. And the italics tag, the I tag. Just use I in the place of the U in this case. And it italicizes the text given inside the space. It's pretty simple. You can also use these in combination, so you can use the U and the I, and the B and the I, or the B and the U at the same time, or all three. Thank you for watching. I hope this was useful.